With the Ironheart series set to debut on June 24th, tomorrow, the Disney company and Marvel Studios, they are completely frantic over the performance of the show and its potential impact on other projects like Fantastic Four, First Steps, and everything else across the board within the MCU. We already know that there's a lot of fans out there, Marvel fans, that have walked away from this brand entirely, not really giving it a second chance at all, at least until Doomsday arrives, to really see exactly what happens there in 2026. But besides that, there's a lot of people very skeptical right now about Fantastic Four for starters, and Ironheart, it's not helping one bit. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, looking at Ironheart, we know that this show has been on the shelf for like 2.5 years, heck, technically 3, if you really put everything all together between the reshoots, the rewrites, and the re-edits that took place, and how they're also trying to hide the show as much as possible. Hence why they recently just changed their schedule. Now, apart from doing the 3-episode premiere tomorrow, half the entire show, they're going to debut the next half of the entire show. I believe it's on July 1st. Originally, they were going to have it where it would be 1 episode a week throughout July, into the month of July, and you can see how now the strategy is to actually get this all done and over with weeks before July 25th, once, of course, Fantastic Four drops in theaters. Now, we already have Dominique Thorne, the actress who plays Riri Williams, alright, the lead actress, I should say, that plays the main character in the show. What's really interesting here is that with the Disney company and Marvel in complete panic mode over the debut of their Ironheart show on the 24th, one major development going on now involves more to do with the failing press tour for the show just before its release on June 24th. Now, Dominique Thorne, who plays Riri, recently delivered the following against the fans and to defend Disney at all costs. Getting to participate in this role, she says, has been the opportunity of a lifetime for a series that supports LGBTQ, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Everything about it is as inclusive as it can be, and there are many times in this industry where it's that what is the most important thing, especially for Disney and Marvel, to create and put out something that connects to those that come from different ethnic backgrounds. I think that there are times when it's justified that those values are more important than the story. In this latest chapter, we focus on Riri Williams, a character that I really studied from the comics, and how in various ways she goes through many other issues than Tony Stark ever did. You are going to see how Riri, in many ways, that she holds a better value in the Marvel Universe than Tony, since she does some very surprising things in this series that I feel as one who got to play this role. She doesn't come from a place of privilege, and I think that many Marvel fans are going to respect and appreciate that more than a character, for example, that was this billionaire who had pretty much nothing to lose. When you are someone like Riri, you have a lot to lose. Things are on the line, and you are going to see that struggle between herself and Hood. Hood, by the way, is the villain in this show, in case you guys do not know. She goes on to continue, when I first heard about the criticism about our series, I just thought it was coming from a very misunderstood place. People don't seem to understand the importance of Ironheart. This is a character that adopts the legacy and the soul of Iron Man and turns it into something better. And you will see in the story how Riri knows this and acknowledges that later on during her arc. I think it's time that we focus on more stories that feature LGBTQ communities. I am more than proud to support drag, whether it's through our fine performers or the characters in our latest show. This is our most diversified series, and it's something that should be celebrated deeply, and this is something I agreed on with Kevin Feige. He really wanted to make this a very diversified series, more so than Black Panther. Now guys, let me just stop there for a moment. This just goes to show you, and it confirms that Kevin Feige was 100% on board for Ironheart. Now look, there's been a lot of debates out there, a lot of talk that Kevin Feige was all against Ironheart. Clearly, he was all for it, because he's agreeing with Dominique Thorne about the whole Disney agenda, the Disney messaging, and look, if they really wanted to scrap the show, they could have easily done that. They could have easily canceled the series, or at the very minimum, if they really wanted to, they could have actually put this out there right when Fantastic Four dropped. This way Fantastic Four would kind of like overshadow that show completely to the point where it would go unrecognized. They could have done something like that. It wouldn't have taken away any viewership from Fantastic Four, that's for sure. And look, we know at the same exact time, Kevin Feige, he's trying to actually go into damage control about the show. We already know that he talked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, about how, hey, we made some mistakes, I made some mistakes. Well, clearly they're not trying to fix the problem, because if they really wanted to patch up the MCU, they could have left this actual show in hiding like they did for the past 2.5 years. Now, moving onwards, alright, she goes on to conclude, because now we are including LGBTQ in the MCU for the first time ever, and it's such a great evolution, but for the fans and the people that are intimidated by someone like that, or something like this, perhaps this is not the show for you, and it may be a good idea to just focus on other projects. Now look, this is where Dominique Thorne has it wrong. They've had many elements of LGBTQ representation in Marvel films and television programs well before Ironheart, but I think what she's trying to get at here is that in this moment, it's going to be more pronounced, it's going to be more direct than any other project before this, and I think that's also going to turn away a lot of fans, for sure. We saw, an example of this with the Acolyte series by Star Wars / Lucasfilm, when they went all typical Disney agenda in that show. And that's exactly what turned away a lot of Star Wars fans, by the way. This is literally the Marvel version of that. Now, looking back, she says, at Iron Man and Tony Stark, he was a character that had many flaws, but when you look at Riri, I think you see a perfected version of Tony right from the get-go. This character is the essence of what Tony never accomplished, and what he could have if he got his act together earlier rather than later in Avengers Endgame. So look, the fact that they keep going on this constant trope about how Riri is the perfected version of Tony Stark, is adopting the characteristics of Iron Man and better aspects of that character that he never technically achieved, quote-unquote, according to Dominique Thorne. One thing about this is that we already know that Ironheart, it's a show that's dead in the water. It was ratioed across all forms of social media. Whether you're looking at the first or the second trailer, it doesn't matter. Nobody wants this show, nobody asked for this show. And let alone, this is a series, by the way, based on a canceled comic line back in 2016, alright? The comics were canceled, didn't even last that long. And look, you would think that at the very minimum, you would do something very unique, perhaps, making the kid from Iron Man 3 the next inspiration of Iron Man, or something that kind of, emulates that character, or maybe even Pepper Potts, or do a War Machine series. Anything like that would have been better. Iron Man's daughter, anything like that would have been better than Ironheart. So overall, I think that what we're getting at right now is the fact that Marvel is trying to just get past the show, clearly, given the fact that they have a 3-episode premiere tomorrow, half the entire show. Then I think it's come July 1st, correct me if I'm wrong, you got a 3-episode batch again ending the series. All in 2 parts, basically. It's split up into 2 parts, basically, is what it's, pretty much being treated as when it comes to an MCU series. Overall, I would love to hear what you all have to say about Dominique Thorne, her view of Riri, and how she is defending the Disney agenda. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.